This is episode 2 of Your Brain on Fun, a series that's all about finding out why we're wired to love the things we love. So let's look at No Man's Sky. Before its release, it was one of the most anticipated games of 2016. And in this episode, we're going to look at how the promise of endless space exploration created such a buzz and inevitably crushing expectation. So this video isn't a review, but I gotta say, this game doesn't have much depth. I didn't find it that fun, but it does capture, and I think this is the big draw of the game, this exploration idea, that you can go anywhere and you can explore anything. But why do we have games like No Man's Sky? They set up a universe and they just ask us to explore it. Why do we do it? Why do we love exploring? Why is it rooted in our genes? So let's go back in time and look at our descendants. These are people who survived by outperforming others and exploiting the best resources. Exploration led our ancestors to discover fire, and a couple of 2001 Space Odyssey monoliths later, we're zipping around the Atlantic trying to find India and instead accidentally colonizing Brazil. So the psychological spur responsible for all this exploration is often pinpointed as curiosity. In other words, the brain is wired to try new things and take actions that lead to learning something new, which could open up new opportunities, which could mean survival for your group. For instance, let's say you visit Tameko's house. He's a well-acquainted, reliable spirit friend, so you know you're going to have a good time. This path is often known as the exploitation path because you're reinforcing your knowledge, the stuff you already know. Let's say Tameko has a cousin, Tamika. You don't know Tamika, but Tamika's having a house party and you go there. This is a new experience and you're taking a risk. This is the exploration path, and some research has shown that treading new ground rather than doing the exploitive path is better for two reasons. First reason, when we show a readiness to explore and capitalize on opportunities, we're in a state of anticipation, of excitement, and there's some neural activity that puts ourselves in a high energy state as we prepare ourselves for action. So this is a really interesting point. If we look at our exploitive state, you know Tameko's a cool guy, you're going to have a good time, but what you get extra when you take the exploration state is your brain congratulating you for being bold and taking the first move. So even if the party's a flop, you're still going to get some delicious dopamine release. And that dopamine is the reward. That's the brain's way of making you do things. It's the feel-good chemical. And that brings us to reason 2, because it's produced and released at a different rate. In fact, it's released at a greater rate when we approach something that elicits more of our curiosity, something that's new, uncertain, or a just manageable challenge. There's some great research on the neuromechanics underlying all of this, particularly with perceptual curiosity. That's the curiosity when we feel we can't quite see something clearly. Scientists took 19 volunteers, stuck them in an fMRI and showed them a blurry image. And the first thing that lit up was the anterior insula, or the anterior cingulate cortex. But when the image is unblurred, the fMRI shows that the striatum is activated. This is a region related to reward processing. So with the relief of perceptual curiosity and of going to that house party, you get a big hit of dopamine. It's also associated with hippocampal activation and enhanced incidental memory. So we're built to be curious, and I think space really captures the wonder and awe of the unknowing, and it addresses our need to build monuments and secure resources for our future generations. JFK left some of this stuff out when he made that speech that sent people to the moon, but our innate tendency to try new things is what got us to send up nearly everything to space, from chimpanzees to Matthew McConaughey.
That's what I love about these high school girls, man. I get older, they stay the same age.
We now have the ability to travel anywhere at any time, and if we can't, then there's probably going to be a David Attenborough nature show that does it for us. But the cool thing about video games is it gives us a portal to explore someone's imagination. No Man's Sky was a beautiful universe, but it didn't have much depth, so it played like a missed opportunity. But the games industry knows that we're curious cats, and there are plenty of exploration games out there that do it really well, and there are plenty more out on the horizon. Whatever the next big thing is, you can be sure that Your Brain on Fun will be there to explain why it's grabbed your attention. Until then, venture on, my brothers!